Thank you for clicking on this video. This is a short review from one of our longer episodes that we upload weekly. If you'd like to check out the full episode, we'll put a link in the description and a time card in the video here. But if not, enjoy the episode and thank you for watching. Obviously, I say nobody's heard of it. No, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny came out at the end of June,
Yeah.
and I saw it the day it came out.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Yeah, I remember you messaged him
I
about
left work
that.
early,
Yeah.
and I came out the cinema, and I sat in my car. And this is in the episode. We haven't actually recorded the episode, so this is our first time talking about it. So for context, audience, we recorded like 3 Indiana Jones reviews in the lead up to this film, and then never released them because I was so disappointed I didn't want to talk about this film. So I just didn't want to do. I didn't want to talk about it anymore. So I got out the cinema, walked to my car, sat down, looked in the mirror, pulled down the visor, looked in the mirror, and went, "God, that was rough." And I have that written. That's the first line written in my book for notes on this film. Because I'm notorious for forgetting points in a film that I think are important, and then I have to go like think about them again. But so, but all I could write was, "Man, that was rough." And I went to Tesco on the way home. I went to the supermarket on the way home just to feel like I'd had something productive from the trip going out to the cinema. So my loaf of bread was more fucking productive than this. Honestly, I fucking hate this film. And the thing that makes me hate this film even more, not even thing is, I disliked the film. I didn't hate it because I feel like there's a lot of like hate mongering right now on the internet as well, where it's like this is shit, and there's no, and you can't think of a reason why it's just shit because oh there's a woman in it, and it's like fuck off, like that. I don't like her, but that's not the reason it's bad.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I disliked it. I disliked it thoroughly, but I didn't hate it. I've grown to hate it, but I don't. I don't think I hate it in an unfair way. I think it deserves all the hate it gets. And I think the thing that annoys me about this film is that, and this doesn't usually annoy me because usually I can appreciate people liking something that I don't. Right? I don't always to begin with, but I can grow to appreciate people being able to appreciate things I don't. But I can't with this. I honestly feel like it's just mediocre at best. Even if you're giving it the benefit of the doubt, it is mediocre at best. And I refuse to be satisfied by mediocrity, which might sound ironic because I've just said that The Flash is all right. But like, I can't like this film, and I'll never watch this film again. And that's not out of spite. It's not out of spite. That's just like I have no interest in watching this film ever again.
No, that's fair.
I have no interest in thinking it because anytime I think about this film, it makes the other ones worse.
What? Really?
Yeah. It just annoys the fuck out of me, right? And like the whole point of Indiana Jones is it's supposed to be episodic, kind of, right? There's a story going on in the background, but they're kind of enclosed episodes. But this is a finale, right? Or at least it brands itself as a finale, and it's like, well, you can't have an episodic thing with that then. And obviously that comes into Harrison Ford's age, but
just to
I'll just quickly I'll just quickly say I'm sitting right now at like a 3 on this film, maybe a 2.5.
Okay, so the same with me and Flash then.
Yeah, and when I came at the cinema, I was sitting at about a 4.5.
Okay, just to be the devil's advocate, would you, I apologize for the people listening. We're talking about Star Wars. Would you say the sequels will ruin the prequels and the originals the same that Indiana Jones does?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. No, Gord.
Is it more just because you know where the character goes, kind of thing?
No,
so it's like, oh, like
I'm not saying it. I can't watch the originals anymore, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if I'm watching the originals now, I'm going to be thinking about this, and I'm going to be thinking about how wrong they got it. And it's not the first time they've got it wrong, right? But I can kind of live with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
At least it's fun. At least it's like a fun watch.
That's a great point. Is that 3/4 of that film at least? I think the first half of that film is actually quite solid. The last half is not as solid, but it's still kind of fun.
Yeah.
In a different way, but fun.
I'd agree with you on
that. This film is fucking boring. And tell him why, Brandon. Tell him what happened to you in the cinema. How fucking boring this film is.
I fell asleep for about 25 minutes.
This film started a habit within Brandon of falling asleep for the fucking film.
Wait, I think I like this film more than you two do. But the only hi Sketty. The only defense I would give this is I think the first like 20 minutes is absolutely like this is Indiana Jones. Like when he's, except from the CGI or the de-aging, I didn't like that. But when he's on the train and him and his little, I always forget his name. Like I would have loved
Basil.
a movie. Yeah, I would have loved the movie, but then like I thought that was,
Yep.
I sat down and I was like, holy cow! I'm like Indiana Jones, and I was really excited for it. But I definitely agree. As soon as they got out of there, it was like,
And the
what's
thing
going
is,
on?
you can say that part of the reason it's born is because of Harrison Ford's age, but
But it's not.
that's not true.
It's not because even Harrison Ford is carrying the film as like on his back. Like he's the highlight of the film. You know what I mean?
Like the indie films are known for their supporting characters. Like you've got Short Round, Marion, freaking his dad, and then you got this lassie, and I absolutely despise her. I hate her, mate. You know how I crapped on Willie on our review, mate. She's worse than Willie, man. I'll admit it. Willie's not the worst
I actually
anymore.
like Willie.
Willie's,
I love
but
Willie, mate.
I can't remember her name, but freaking she's a lot because she
Hella
constantly demeans Indy. Is that the right word? Demeans or demeans?
undermined.
Indy
Undermined,
undermined. That's
yeah.
it. Absolutely hate it. They make it as out he's a freaking idiot and
So-
she knows more. And it's like I get it. People are going to view that as like, oh, she's a girl. No, that's not the case.
So there's
We had our comparison was with Mission Impossible with what's her face's
Haley
character, Haley Atwell's character, and she's almost the same character, just done so much better. She doesn't come across annoying or
so
like in your
there's a couple of
face.
good points you made there but there's also a few I disagree with, and I hate that I'm going to defend the film from this. But I actually don't think she's guilty of it the way, particularly in that way. I think there's a few excuses you can give to like why that might be that kind of make sense, or even just make sense. I think the problem is I think in this adventure we're on, she's dealing with her father's topic, and he's like the expert on this, and she's like, oh, I read all this shit, so like I can kind of buy that she's knowledgeable in this field only. Had she been
Yeah.
on a different adventure with Indy, she would be a total fucking idiot. But because she's like really knowledgeable on the Dial of Destiny, that's why that kind of works for me. The problem is it's not to do with her undermining Indy, which, because I think he gets a few moments where there's things that she can't. I couldn't even think of an example because I hate this film, but I do remember there being examples of him doing things that she wouldn't be able to do. Like he solves a few puzzles that she can't, right? The problem is not that she's like a quote unquote Mary Sue or that she undermines Indy for me. That's not my problem. My problem is she's just really fucking unlikable. And she's really snotty and snobby and really just like I can't get behind you and I don't like you as much as the film is trying to make me think I like you.
Do you know I agree with that, because see when the police officer woman, detective or whatnot, got killed on the plane, I felt really annoyed that she died because I really liked her character, and I was like, I was like, I'd have rather it be like her and Indy. Like I think that would have been better. Like just switch them. But I think it's one of those movies where it was the fight, the finale, and they didn't have Stephen or George back, and it just wasn't going to do what the original was going to do anyway. So I think even at the start of the film, the start of the production, it was at a loss.
I think this film is fundamentally flawed in its Indiana Jones story. I think time travel is if aliens are wrong, time travel is even more wrong.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I just can't believe they went that far.
I just can't believe that they went, man, people came to see but really didn't like the aliens in the last film. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give them a really modern concept that is completely out of place in a film like this. Like
I miss when it was to do with like religion and history. That's what I like Indiana Jones for, not freaking
yeah, and
time travel.
is very lazy in this film. It's very like boring.
Oh,
Like,
it's actually triggered me just thinking of
Shall we
it.
move on?
I
Shall
know.
we move
No,
on?
'cause I want to
I
keep
think
talking.
we should move
I want to
on.
keep
Nah, I
talking.
think we should move on, boys.
No, I think you should mute if you don't want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. And I think Brandon kind of nailed it on the head, or Robert did, whichever one he said it. Is that this film is just boring, and I think that's probably its most guilty thing being an Indiana Jones film because, like Robert says, even King Crystal Skull is entertaining. You might not like what's going on, but you're still entertained. This film is the longest Indiana Jones film and has the least amount of content of any of the films. It's not even a half hour too long. It's probably an hour too long. And the villain, Mads Mikkelsen's a good actor, but he's not a good villain in this. And I know
Such a
there's a lot of
waste.
sympathy for. I think there's a lot of sympathy for, and I've kind of been thinking about this in terms of music as well. There's a lot of sympathy for very polished experiences, but that are underlying turds, right? Is that Mads Mikkelsen's a very polished actor. He's a very, very good actor. But this is the Mads Mikkelsen we've seen before. This is nothing new. He's very like Grindelwald. Like we've seen him before, and he's like,
Just
yeah,
generic
he's
villain. Just generic
very
villain.
generic.
Like it's yeah.
And they do play with some interesting things. It's like maybe in an earlier draft of the script there were because he has that conversation with I forget, but like the Black Butler earlier in the film, and he's like,
Mm.
"Oh, this is what your victory is. Like, are you happy with yourself?" Basically, which is a good point, but at the same time, had the Nazis won, he wouldn't even be there. So like, you know, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and like the ending, I thought was really predictable with his like, "Oh well, if Hitler couldn't do it, I'll go back and do it better," and that was that just that a lot of people thought that was a really cool concept. I thought that was extremely obvious.
The thing is, you could have let him do it because the dial itself only lets you travel back to that specific time anyway. So even if he got the dial of destiny and made it work, he wouldn't be able to succeed in his plan because it takes you back to freaking Sparta.
Yeah, that, but also
So
had had you just let him go back to Nazi Germany or Nazi Germany but pre-war Nazi Germany, you could have just done that. There was nothing like
I might have rathered that. If you're going to do it, I'd rather that. Yeah.
but yeah, the whole Archimedes thing, and it's honestly like hard R tarded. Like it's honestly like I can't believe people get paid to make this, and I've never been glad for a film to fail as bad as it has, given its budget.
Yeah.
And I just can't understand why people are sympathetic to this film. And I get it's Indiana Jones and it's Harrison Ford, but
That's my biggest thing. How I don't understand how people are saying this is good.
it's just boring. And I think the problem is it's boring and it's not unique and it's not Indiana Jones. But like 2 weeks later, we get probably what this film should have been in Mission Impossible because it literally
And
there's a
there
lot
we
of
go.
parallels, and Mission Impossible does every single one better. You've already mentioned Haley Atwell, and I don't think she's a better character just because she's less competent than Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
No, because I think she's competent as
Yeah,
well though. Like
in
she,
her, yeah, but
but she also struggles as
everyone in
well.
that film is competent in their own way, in a great way, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I think that's kind of what this film, like Indiana Jones, used to do really well. And we like in our reviews that we haven't released, we talked about
Mhm.
in Raiders. So Indy says up front when he gets kind of recruited by the American government to go after the Ark that he's not an expert on like the Ark. He knows of it and he
Mhm.
knows that there's like a mystery surrounding it, but it's Marion's father that's the expert on it. It's not him. And then they go searching for a guy to go translate things, and it's like it kind of fleshes out the world when your characters don't know things but know where to go looking for things, or at least know someone who does. And this film doesn't have any of that because like the best they can do parallel in this film is they have a kid who's never flown a plane but got lessons on a paper mache model from a friend in a bar. They have like a teenager fly a plane at the end of this film, and that's how they get. I can't believe that they were like, right, we've written ourselves into a corner. We've managed to write Indiana Jones into like 300 BC, and we need to get him back to the present day. And their solution was, let's teach a kid to fly so he can land the plane in the past during a battle, pick them up, and then fly back. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's you're getting paid to write shit like that? Like, no, no, you don't
it's
get away
mad.
with that.
It's mad.
And that's why I'm really like you say, like really, I have an odd feeling about why people like this film because it's very lazy, but obviously nice transition into Mission Impossible. It might not be the next film, but that's the next one we're talking about.